All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Rakah, Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And we are here once again. We're going to go right into it. You know, there's a lot going on, but as you can see in the title, no room for error. All right, and we at that time where you can see the Lord is, stirring up a lot of interesting things, in these last days, both on the prophetic side, but also within the house of Israel. Okay, as the Lord is separating. Okay, and for years, right? That's the thing about it. You know, brothers, elders, say it for years, but when it happens, sometimes people overlook the fact that it happens. Remember, for years, the Lord was saying that He was gonna. Hey, shalom, bro. The Lord was saying how He's gonna break up. Matter of fact, let's see if the volume is good to you. Yes, well, we can hear him.
Hey, Shalom, Yabashim Shabrakatami. You hear me?
Yep. For years, the Lord was saying, brothers, the Lord was saying through brothers and elders how the Lord is going to break up these groups, and basically that's what you saw, right? You saw the whole thing with Alazar, and now he completely is out of here. Now, maybe 5 years ago, people wouldn't have thought that, right? With the way he was moving, his whole energy was, oh, I'm about to take over this whole joint and blah 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 blah, and here we are. He ain't even here, right? And then what happened to those that were with him? So the Lord is right now, what He's doing is that inquisition, and through the controversy of the doctrine, the Lord is like almost asking, where do you stand? And based on the answer to that, that's that separation. So the Lord has made it very, very clear. Even certain groups that may have taught things similar, right, to us, starting with the things that the apostles of Great Millstone teach on down, the apostles, inside joke. But starting with those on down, the Lord is causing a separation to where it's no longer, you can't confuse it. You can't say that, oh, well, these groups, they're like this or they teach that, And one example is with the whole Genesis, group. Instantly. And that's the thing about the way the Lord works. He works in, it's like out of nowhere, spontaneously, and see, sometimes you don't see it coming. You just turn around and you're like, what the hell happened here? Right? But that's what the Lord is doing. And so for us, watching and observing that and understanding how the Most High, Bahasham Yahushai, operates, we don't have room for error. Okay? When you're playing a really difficult game, you start off with like 7 lives. When you get closer and closer to the final boss, those lives are going down. So you can't make those little silly mistakes you used to make before, where you'd lose a life. I got like 6 more. I got 5 more. Now you about to face the hardest part of the battle, and you got only that 1 life that you with. That means if you lose this, it's game over. You got it, bro.
Hey, Khan, I got a quick precept to back you up here. There's a book of Galatians, chapter 1, and verse 8. It says, "But though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed." And the word accursed goes to the Greek word anathema, which is what the Apostle Paul also references as anathema maranatha, which means to be reserved for judgment, right? To be designated, put aside for judgment. Okay, and ultimately, the Lord says that the judgment is going to start off in His sanctuary first. So we're starting to see that before the Lord brings out that judgment, He puts everything out there. He lays all the cards out for everyone to see. All right, not only for the elect to see these things and see the power of the Lord, but also for the gainsayers to see it and also see the power of the Lord. Okay, because we see it and we're not really like, oh shit, yo. It's more like, He brought judgment upon these wicked ass niggas. But other people who are on the other side, they see it and they're like, oh shit, like, yo, that Hebrew Israelite thing is no joke, man. Look what the God did, da da da. So verse 9, Galatians 1 and 9, it says, "As we said before, so say I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed." Okay, so that's the same thing. That's why we had to jump on this these Genesis clowns, because the H&H, Hakai, Hassad, that's definitely biblical, man. That's biblical. They're gonna be written off definitely in the kingdom. We're gonna be reading about them niggas, man. that right at the last time before all this thing go down, the Lord start exposing these agents, man. That's what they are. They're agents of Satan. Okay, to come out here and to push this type of wayward doctrine at this last hour, you're an agent of Satan, man. All right, and the Lord is using you to push out a certain narrative so that he can take out those who are not part of his cluster, and then he could destroy all you niggas all at once. All right, remember, Yahushua said, "What? There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Yes, you spoke in the name of the Lord sometimes, not all the time, because they kept saying Christ and all this extra shit. Okay, but ultimately, you're not going to be able to push the name of the Lord truly and sincerely if you're not one of his men. That's just how it is. All right, you just can't say that name like Nate. That's why he can't preach the name of the Lord, because he knows what he did behind closed doors, man. All right, all these other groups that they can't say the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua with authority is because they sold out. The Lord is not dealing with them. All right, and even if he is, he's dealing with them on the left hand side. Then he's going to destroy them after that. Okay, but you got it, bros.
That's right. That's right. So let's get that.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 6 and 7, and it reads, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked."
Yeah, be not deceived, because where does the deception lie in this point that's being made here? The deception lies in the fact that, pursuant to Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the hearts of the men is fully set in them to do evil. Roughly paraphrasing, that's the deception, because they don't see immediate judgment. They think that little by little the things that they're doing is okay. That's why in the Apocrypha it says concerning women, give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. Because what's going to happen is, if you have a little leak and you don't take care of that, eventually get worse and worse and worse. There was a saying when we were younger, was it tiny drops make a mighty ocean? So yeah, if you got a leak and it's just one drop at a time, all it takes is time. Put a bucket over there and come back maybe a week later, you'll see the bucket is full. Okay, so what it looks like, tiny drops, 1, 2, 3, but as the Lord said, a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Quite literally, it doesn't take much, just a little leaven in time, and eventually the whole lump will be leavened.
Nothing. The little things add up.
Yes, there you go. The little things add up. So, be not deceived. When you do something little and it's not addressed, people think that, oh, well, it was little, that's probably why it wasn't addressed. It was fine, I'm gonna keep doing it. And before you know it, the little things add up, and next thing you know, judgment is on your ass. So that's why it says here, let's keep reading that.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
So keyword whatsoever, meaning anything that you sow, that you put energy into, that you do, that comes forth of you, you're gonna have to reap that. Okay, if you plant it, you're gonna have to reap it. So if you sow actions in the earth, you're gonna have to reap the consequences of that. The consequences are the fruit of your actions. All right, and so if you do the right thing, the consequences you're gonna reap are beneficial. They're positive. But if you're doing wickedness, you're gonna have to reap of that, and you're gonna have to deal with the consequences of the reward that the Lord got for you for that. And the thing about the Most High is, there's a reason why he says he's not a respecter of persons. Okay, when you look at what happened to Uzzah, when he breached upon Uzzah for grabbing the ark, they should have known better, right? They should have known better, because the Lord specifically told them, going back to the time of Moses, how you're supposed to carry the ark. He wouldn't have had them make those rings on the side of the ark with the bars through them if all you had to do was just grab it or put it on a cart. And that's why he made those. So because they didn't follow that, they risked it, and guess what happened? The Lord broke out on them. Said the Lord even told them in the law that when the high priest goes into the Holy of Holies, he's supposed to have the bells up on the hem of his garment, lest the Lord kill him. Well, you say, wait, whoa, Lord, that's a pretty strong threat. What you mean? That's the high. He's supposed to be serving you, but you're gonna kill him if he doesn't. That's how the Lord works. The Most High doesn't operate like a man. I see you leaning forward. What you got?
Hey, remember, even in the story of Esther, right? Even a regular king, all right, Xerxes, she had to gain his favor to even come into his presence. Now, of course, she's a woman, all right, in that kind of kingdom. But even that, just thinking of it in the sense of a man, right, a regular man that becomes a king, he's referenced in a sense that you can't just approach him. So how much more the Heavenly Father with the priests, right? The Heavenly Father is, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just approach him. You gotta, there's steps to doing that, right? There's like, even for the priest to perform a certain ritual, they have to go through a series of things, cleansing things for days, right? Like 3 days or sometimes a week or whatever the case may be. But you have to do certain things to cleanse yourself before, all right, you even approach the altar, all right? So it's like, it's a lot of things, man. These people just, they don't understand the intricacies and the vastness of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. They don't really get them. All right, they don't get it because the Lord never revealed it to them like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why they speak the way they speak. That's why they operate the way they operate. You see what I'm saying? They do things that's going to incur wrath, and that's what's going to happen. All right, and we're just mortal men. But when we hear these things and see these things, we get irate. How much more the Heavenly Father, man? All right, you got it, bro.
That's right. That's right. Was that it on that? But you had a point. You said, right?
I remember back in the church days, you had this Sunday school teacher. She said that you can do bad all your life, but when you're about to die, you can repent and you'll be good. Now, how does that work? The Lord said a false balance is abomination. And yeah, everyone will receive a reward, but there's two types of rewards, a good reward and a wicked reward.
Yeah, I think there's a scripture that says like people's vain mind has overthrown their judgment or something like that, and that's what it is. That came out of her own vain mind. You see, there ain't no scripture on that. She just said that because she thought that day, that you know what, that's just it.
Funny thing, I asked her to show me in the Bible where it says that, and then she was like, "Don't worry, I'll show you." A couple minutes go by, I remind her. She's like, "Don't worry, I'm coming." The whole day, nope, nothing.
Yeah, because you know what, it ain't in there. So they just say it because they remember one or two precepts that mentioned one or two words in there. So you know what, if that's what their memory tells them, then that's what it is. Well, she's wrong, and she just misled a lot of people right there. Because you know that's the thing. A lot of times people don't ask, well, what does that actually mean when you say that you can sin all your life and then just repent at the end and you'll be fine? How does that work? Is there anybody in the Bible that has done that? And what was the circumstance behind that? Could you explain that a bit more to me? But you know why they don't ask those questions? Because a lot of them don't even care. A lot of them, even if that was the case, they wouldn't even do it. You know, they say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna repent until they die, and then they don't repent. Damn, bro, all you had to do is just say you repent. And they can't even do that. That's Jake. Because ultimately they don't care. All right. And they don't care because they don't fear. And they don't fear because the Lord hasn't put that spirit upon them. A lot of these people that walk up and down, you know, that post this shit on social media, that live this kind of vain lifestyle, quite frankly, the answer is they just don't care. Because why should they in their minds? You know, that's why they don't, like Aharon said, they don't understand why we do the things we do and why we're so dedicated to it. Because the Lord, he likes to have his stuff done a certain way. And really, if it was up to the Lord, the little things that we get, the little teeth that we get here and there, we really don't need that. But he does that because we're in the flesh, right? So he gives us that leeway, you know. But really, if we were to go according to exactly what the Lord wanted, we'd have to be robots to do that. All right. But the Lord eases up and says, you know what? Fine. You just give me this because I know the situation that you got. So you know what? Just give me this. So that's slack that the Lord cuts for you. If that's too much for you to do, then that's a problem. Because now the Lord is telling you, all right, the full price is $19.99. I said, give me 99 cents. Are you complaining about that? Nigga, your job is paying you $21 an hour. You can't give me 99 cents. Get the hell out of my store. That's disrespectful now. And that's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to bring major judgment. Now, they're saying that, I think Trump and them, they just said that these airlines should consider the airspace of Venezuela closed. So they basically getting ready. Now, they've been foreshadowing it for a while, but they're talking about a ground and air, basically on some like Amalek, Gaza shit, but over there in Venezuela. And we're going to see how the Lord is going to have that play out. You know, but all these things are going on and these people are oblivious to it. And you know what it is? It's shocking that they're so oblivious. Matter of fact, let's also get Isaiah the 6. Is it 6? I think it's Isaiah 6. Yeah. They're oblivious to it and it looks shocking, but that's the manifestation of the Lord saying he's going to blind them. That's why these people don't see the world for what it is and what's going on. They're actually spiritually blinded. It's not like, this is normal. It's not normal. It's literally a divine spell that the Lord has put upon them. That's why you can see it on TV. You sit right next to the person. Matter of fact, you be in a public area. They announce on TV that say, I don't know, Russia just threatened to put nukes in Central America or South America, and people just gonna look at it like, oh wow, damn, the world is getting dangerous now, and then just go about their day. Meanwhile, you looking at it like, okay, so we're very close because you understand what it means. They just sit there like sheep, and that's why when it hits them, they're gonna get caught off guard. A lot of these people, man, they're not gonna survive. Because one of the main things you need is awareness, and the people don't have awareness. Got it?
This book of Isaiah, chapter 6 and 8, and it reads, "Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then said I, Here I am."
Yeah, and that's the spirit you want to be in, right? You want to, as the scriptures say, do the work of the Lord willingly, not by constraint. You don't want to do the work of the Lord like somebody's forcing you to do it. Because, yeah, you get it done, but how long until you're fired? You go try it out on your job. Anytime they tell you, they give you a task, all right, whatever. What is it? What is it? What is it? Why? And you see what they do. Your manager comes to you, hey, hey, we running, low on here. I need you to go. Oh, of course you need me to go, right? Because there ain't nobody else here. Well, obviously there ain't nobody else here. That's why I came to you. And then they gonna go. So you know what's gonna happen? The manager gonna get tired of coming to you. Because he gonna be like, now I'm about to go hear this guy run his mouth when all he gotta do is shut up because he's getting paid to do this job. So eventually what's gonna happen? When they find a suitable candidate, you are out of there. You the first one that's out of there. Matter of fact, they might just open the rehiring process to get somebody new to get you out of there. Okay? So when you come in to do the work of the Lord and you out here murmuring and bickering and I gotta do this or I gotta do that, you working for the Lord. You ain't really got an option. The Lord is like nice enough, kind enough to make it a little easy for you. But people get complacent. They get reckless and they start to think that this is optional. Oh yeah, you know what? It's the work of the Lord, but hey, it is what it is. No, it ain't. It is what it is. Yeah, you're gonna find out just how serious this work is. So go ahead.
Just real quick, I have at my job, there's this 90-day probation you have to go through. Every new hire has to go through. And I was talking to one of the supervisors about the people that would stay, and he was saying that there's this one guy. He's a bit slow, but he's always eager for the work, and they're going to keep him because of that. But the other guy, yeah, he shows that he doesn't really want to do it. It shows like he's being forced. They're not going to keep him.
There you go. Because they know that you're not gonna go the extra mile, right? And in their minds, they gotta worry about whether you're doing things the right way or not. If I tell somebody, yo, can you go do something for me? That's it. Can you go do something for me? And they're like, in my mind, if this is an important task, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I'm like, yo, shit, like, is this person gonna do it right? Because the way the attitude they just gave me, it's like they're gonna miss something important. You're gonna forget the one thing I told them to do because they're just doing it just because they didn't want to do it. They're just doing it because they got to. So somebody like that, I'm not gonna trust with an important task. Do you honestly think in your mind that if you are dragging your feet to do the work of the Lord, this is a responsibility? And in order to do it, that diligence comes with responsibility. In order to be diligent, you have to be responsible. If you can't plan out your life, you can't plan out your time to be diligent to serve the Lord and to feed his sheep, because as much as you may not see it, this is a precursor. The Lord is evaluating everybody. And you think that he's going to put you in charge of a nation of people when you can't even do this task? Why did the Apostle Paul say what? Shall we not judge angels? So basically, if we're going to judge angels, how much more for this? And you are here failing at this. And you're going to turn around and think the Lord's going to put you on a chariot, put a crown on your head and say, all right, now you're in charge of these millions of lives. You go ahead and you go root them. Hell to the no.
Hey, that's why these guys they're not fit to rule, because they can't judge righteous judgment. All right, when you have a situation where you have people who are considered leaders of Israel, and they're not able to judge righteously in matters that we have today, basic controversial matters, where they're going to slander another brother and say, oh, y'all are rapists, or y'all are this, and all these different things in a matter of doctrine, then you know these niggas ain't right. The Lord is looking at them like, well, you guys are just being used for a purpose, and that's it, because you can't judge righteous judgment. I cannot put you in a seat where somebody's life depends on your judgment. Because listen to what they say. Okay, everything is a joke. You can't take these niggas seriously, bro. You see what I'm saying? And these are the niggas talking about, oh, we trying to save the whole nation. The whole nation got to come together. Nigga, are you nuts? Like, how are we gonna do that? Well, we can't even sit down and even have a regular conversation with you. That's why you got other people who watch this is like that. They for those who watch it for entertainment, which I don't know what kind of entertainment you gonna get from watching us, but that's what they do, right? The Lord got a spirit on them to do that. And they say these things like, oh, why can't y'all come together? A nigga like that, you just right then and there, you just be like, you don't know what's going on. You just talking. You have no idea what the hell is going on. You don't know doctrinal differences. You don't know. You can't read the spirit. That's pretty much what it is. Okay. And those are the people that the Lord spoke about as in gross darkness. The people. These are the people who are in the darkness, bro. All right. In outer darkness, they're not gonna make it out. They just out of there, bro. All right. And I got a quick precept. Speaking of darkness. All right. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 60 and verse 2. It says, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee." And how is that happening? Through the Spirit of the Lord, through the ability for us to understand the scriptures and teach it correctly. Okay, that is a symbol, because that was an indicator of the disciples being Hamashiachim. Okay, because they were following Yahushua. When the people who were ridiculing them saw them, I believe in the book of Acts, it says that, oh, then they perceived that these men had been with Yahushua. Because there's something, it's that light, it's something else that's within those men that's going to make them move differently. It's going to make them speak differently. It's going to make them process things differently. Okay, being able to sit back and actually consider, that's a high level mind to have, actually, to be able to consider your words and your actions and how does it fall in line with either right or wrong. Right? Most niggas don't do that. They don't contemplate those things. They just say shit. You know, especially when it comes to the scriptures, man. That's an indicator that he's not a man of the Lord. He doesn't reason. All right, number one, he doesn't reason. Number two, even if you try to reason with him, he's going to turn around and rend you. And it's like, okay, so what's the point? And then people turn around and say, oh, why don't y'all get together and sit down and talk? Do you see what they say? It's like, it's going to get to fisticuffs, man. That's what's going to happen, because they say shit that's so abrasive and so annoying. You'd be like, oh, who the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's going to happen. So we just don't deal with them niggas. Let the Lord deal with them. That's why we say they're cursed. In other words, they're reserved for judgment. Anathema, Maranatha. And the Lord will deal with them niggas. Okay? He will deal with them niggas, man. All right? But I got another precept here referencing the darkness, because you mentioned, Simon Bakar, earlier about how mostly it's only in America that you see people act like animals. Sometimes animals even act smarter than people. Okay? Which is like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, and some way, somehow, it's gonna figure itself out. These are stupid people, man. And that's why the Apostle Gabar, he's the first one that I heard say this, that America is likened onto a sleeping city. All right, Somniopolis. All right, a sleeping city. And this is the reason why. Let's get that in the book of Job, chapter 10 and verse 21. It says, "Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and to the shadow of death." Right? So it's twofold, right? The place where you don't return is the grave, right? But America is also symbolic to the grave, because it's literally the valley of the shadow of death. Everywhere you go, it's literally things to keep you in a state of decay, right? Mentally, people are messed up. Physically, people are messed up. Okay, spiritually, forget about it. All right, that's why Yahushua said, "Shall I find faith on earth?" Is these people are morally decrepit, decayed. They're gone. They're out of there. Okay, that's why it's something to marvel to see the men of the Lord actually stand up. It's like, wow, you know. It's like when he asked Ezekiel, "What seest thou?" He's like, "I see bones, Lord. I see them coming together. I see the sinews. I see the muscles. I see everything coming together. I see the breath." You see, it was a marvelous thing. Okay, and we're actually playing out that marvelous thing. That's why the whole world is watching. Okay, they're spectating, spectacle. Okay, verse 22, it says, "A land of darkness, as darkness itself." That's literally America, bro. This place is dark, very, very dark. The leaders are extremely dark. When you go into what they do, what they practice, right? I just seen a video where they said I believe in Germany, for 7 years straight, they were serving McDonald's human meat. Okay, I believe I sent you that video. Human meat they were serving customers, man, and the customers were eating it and saying, "Yo, this tastes better than the other shit that y'all was giving."
Crazy.
Yeah, it's straight up cannibalism, bro, and they didn't know until one of the workers at the McDonald's saw somebody's wedding band or something, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And then they sent it to police. They started investigating. Come to find out, they've been serving that shit for 7 years. People been eating that shit, dogging it out, coming back for seconds. Like, this is what we're doing. And that's in Germany. So imagine here in America, we already know what happens over here. Okay, Synomics and all that. They actually have companies on the stock market that feed you human meat. Okay, they call it people for people. This is sick shit, bro. All right. It says a land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is as darkness. Okay, and that's America for you. Okay, everything is turned upside down. They've turned light to dark. They've turned good to evil and evil to good. That's where we at. Okay, and eventually that evil versus good is going to clash, and that clash is what you're seeing build up right now. Okay, the Jays versus the actual true Hebrew Israelites, starting with the prophets of the Lord. Okay, you're going to see it. All right, you're going to see it, and ultimately, what's going to happen? The angels going to get involved. Yahushua is going to get involved. All right, and then we're going to see who's who at that time. All right, but you got it, bros.
So where we at with it?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 6 and 9, and it reads, "And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not."
Now, in Isaiah, and the Lord telling Isaiah to say that to them, you know, that was Isaiah saying that was representing what the Lord was going to do, right? It's not just that he was just telling them that, but in fact, it was the spirit the Lord had put on them that's what they were going to do. That's what he was going to do to them. So when he says, "Hear ye indeed," read that again.
Hear ye indeed, but understand not.
Right. So hear ye indeed, but understand not. That's literally what you see going on today. Because people see and hear prophecy, they just don't understand it. All right. They see and hear us, but they don't understand us. Right. Go ahead.
See ye indeed, but perceive not.
So when we talk about seeing and understanding and perceiving, it's not that they can't understand English. Yeah, they understand English. Not that they don't know what the words mean. Yeah, they know what the words mean. But it doesn't click in their heads that, hey, this is equal to that. For us, it makes perfect sense because we can see one thing leading to another. We see the equation, okay? But for them, they don't see how it is that dividing by a number that's yada yada makes the denominator bigger or the numerator small. They don't see that, okay? To them, they just don't get it. It's like trying to explain a math problem to somebody. They just not seeing it. And that's the Lord doing that. Because by keeping them in this state, well, as you keep on reading, it'll tell you. Yeah, good.
It's the same precept, but it's in the Amplified.
Mhm.
It says, Isaiah 6 and 9 in the Amplified, it says, "And he said, Go and tell this people, keep on listening, but do not understand. Keep on looking, but do not comprehend." I just want to bring out, because like some of those certain key words, like keep on listening, keep on looking, that's essentially what people do. People keep looking, they keep listening, but for all this, you keep listening and looking at us, but why is it that you don't understand something? Like the brother said, the temperance is going to explain why.
Got it.
Verse 10, "Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy."
Yeah, now when it says to make their heart fat, it's talking about to make their minds dull, okay? So that they can't understand. They can't, they're here and they're moving, but they're not really, alive in the spirit. Okay, their spirits are docile. It hasn't been awoken. Okay, and that's why they walk around like that. Because with all these, it's like when people are put in those facilities and they keep giving them pills every day to keep them, like all wobbly or calm or docile. That's what Esau does, with this world, with the information that he feeds to the world, right? With the rhetoric that he pushes upon people. That's what he does to the minds of people. So they don't ask questions. I got you, bro. They don't ask questions. They just basically do what they're told. And those medications, they affect your ability to judge, right? They affect your ability to discern, and they affect your ability to think. And that's what Esau does, right? He's trying to stop people from knowing how to think. And in fact, he's trying to stop people outright from just thinking. Okay, soon thinking freely is going to be a crime.
Yeah, when I was in the hospital, every Sunday that I was in the hospital, loading me up with those medicines, man. I was thinking about being out here pushing this truth. I said, anybody who don't look forward to coming out here pushing this truth is crazy. Because when I was in those hospitals being loaded up with those medicines, man, I felt like I was in hell. But when I look forward to coming out here, right when y'all was saying that, I was talking to the brother about how I felt like energized that I was coming out here to push the truth, man. It's like a power pill, man. It's the energy that we need. We don't need those medicines. And if you're in the spirit, if you're in the right spirit, you want to come out here and do His work, man. You talking about the cold weather days that we used to push, 3-4 hours in below temperature weather. This is like a breath of fresh air to us to deal with 30 degrees, sun shining, and all of that. I got up hyped and charged, man. I know it's cold today, but it's like beginning of cold. That's it.
The right mentality to have, bro.
Yep. Hey, but at the end of the day, you gotta think about it like this, right? You don't really got a choice. And if you don't got a choice in the matter, you might as well just get happy with it,
Right.
right? Like there's a saying, what is it? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. You got to be so uncomfortable, you start to become comfortable being uncomfortable. Meaning you start getting used to it, and that's really what that happens by nature. The mind and the body is built to operate that way. Anything you first start doing is uncomfortable, especially if it requires physical labor. It's a lot. Your body's not used to it. In fact, I remember, this is crazy. During the pandemic, during the lockdowns, people were at home for so long that shit even started to affect me. And I remember just going out to the grocery store caused my ankles to hurt. Now I'm not fat, but I hadn't walked, out in like a long distance in a long time because you're usually cooped up in the house. Okay, and so because of that, you're like, yo, but this is something that you do on a regular. But when you don't do it for a long period of time, it starts to affect your body. Okay, so in this case, knowing that, hey, this is what I'm finna do, the Lord got me up to it. Let me find the best way to do it. Instead of trying to shy away from it and trying to complain every time, just go and face it. You never know, you might like it. And if you got the Spirit of the Lord is truly upon you, you're gonna like it. All right, there's gonna be something you're gonna own it, as they like to say, right? In the world, you're gonna own it. You're gonna step up to it, and you're gonna tame it. And before you know it, look, things that you're not good at, you don't like. Things that you are good at, you like. But things that you love are things that you might not be good at, but you become good at it. And that progress makes you feel like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I kind of like this. So when it comes to the work of the Lord, you got to keep in mind that there is no greater reward than what we're going to get for what we're doing now. This is look, all hell is going to break loose regardless. That's going to happen, right? Whether you're in in the truth or not, it's going to happen. Your only way out is by doing what you're doing now. So if all hell's going to break loose regardless, why not do the thing that's going to deliver you in that time versus just sitting on your ass just to get hit in that time? Somebody have something?
Yeah, this is the first. It's the first for you to come out here because you be finding your spirit.
Right, right.
You're doing something that your spirit not used to doing. Like with athletes, they take ice baths. You ever saw an athlete get into a bath with a bath full of ice cubes? Well, at first it sounds scary and it probably sounds like it's going to do your body harm, but it's actually doing your body a benefit.
Yep.
When you come out here, you're doing your body a benefit, man. All right? When you're professing the word of God, speaking the gospel, all right? The Lord put that spirit on you to want to come out here and do it. Getting the purge, man. You're purging your spirit of that old man ways, which is being at home, looking for something to get into, some dumb stuff. This is a whole exercise for your mind and your body, man. You need to get into it.
Got some in Romans. Romans 10 and 13. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you go into that word preach, it basically means to prophesy.
Mm.
And that's one of the powers of prophecy, is that as the brother said, if you know that it's coming, then you will prepare. But the problem with these people is that they don't know.
Right.
Or if they have been made aware, they just rather be ignorant. So the power of what the Lord gave us is vision. When you have vision, you can see things coming ahead and then prepare.
Right.
So these camps that set up, the men of the Lord is like an igloo in the blizzard. If you out there in the blizzard and you see a nice warm fire inside, you're gonna run inside of there.
Right.
But if people can't, if they don't have the vision to see what's going on, and they don't know, it's like unto the strong tower. You know, in a storm, you need cover, you need protection. You'll run to that tower. You see? But we have the vision. That's why the prophets were called seers, because they was able to have that vision ahead of time. You know, at one point the prophets were called seers. I think that's First Samuel, the 9th chapter. All right, so us having the vision, it starts with the belief, the fear in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai of knowing the Lord puts it in your mind to see, well, this is coming. So now, what man or person are you to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So that's why how would they believe unless the Lord sent somebody to preach it?
Yeah, I saw this video, as you mentioned in Vision. Vision. I saw this video. Now I think it might have been a commercial, but it was basically a short clip. And you got this guy, you know, he yeah, like, you know, like a little like black jacket or whatever. And so he's just walking in the neighborhood, and he's doing things to people that initially may seem like he's harming them, right? And I forgot what a couple of them were, but like, for example, he may be walking, you'll see a couple people there, and he just pushed this old man. He just goes and he pushes the old man, and the old man is holding flowers and shit. The old man falls down. He's like, what's up with you, man? Why the hell are you pushing me like that? And then there's another part. So he what?
He's singing the falls right after.
Yeah. I'm gonna get to that. You can't spoil it.
Shit, man.
So and then he pushes the old man, and then there's a scene where he's going, and then he sees these kids basically they're playing soccer. So the kid kicks the soccer ball and it comes out the crib, and he sees the kid coming. He puts his leg out, he trips the kid, and the kid falls face first. Boom! They're like, "Yo, this guy's a menace. What the hell? He just going around hurting people in the neighborhood and shit." And then there were a couple of them like that, but it turns out like basically a few seconds after, it would be like the old man he pushed with the flowers. A car basically just swerved off the road and just ran into that whole flower shit that he was standing at, and literally seconds after he was pushed out the way, and that's how he survived. So they started off with the initial reaction of like, oh, what the hell? And then they realized, oh shit, if I was still standing there, I would have been cooked. And the little boy, basically with the momentum he was going with, he was going to run into the road to pick up the ball. And right after he tripped and fell, there was a car that just came full speed and basically ran over the ball. So had he been there, he would have been run over. So just like the brother was going into it, vision, it seemed when the scriptures say a prudent man perceiveth the evil and hideth himself, sometimes the actions seem erratic before the actual, you know, things that you're preparing for come. In fact, they even showed you an example of that in Leave the World Behind, when they saw that dude packing up his truck with mad like water and provisions and all those things. They're like, yo, why this guy? Oh yeah, he always does that. You know, he always does that. Okay. And then shortly after that, guess whose house they went to? Talking about, I'm a useless man. I'm useless without my phone and shit. You know? And you're going to have a lot of people admitting that. Look, now a dude like that, he wouldn't have admitted that in the corporate world. In the corporate world, he got money. He's powerful. But in the real world, which we live in, you're not powerful. Your money, in actuality, is just numbers in a phone. That's all it is. All right? If you lost your phone and ended up in a remote island somewhere, you lose everything. Okay? And so, you know, back to the point on vision, really it's the, the mercy of the Lord for showing us ahead of time what's about to happen. You know, like they show you in them, I mean, they made memes about it, but whenever they have like a, you know, Edomite that's about to do some negativity in the school, and he tells that one friend that was nice to him, listen, go to you should go use the bathroom right now. And the guy's on some like, no, I don't got. He said you should go. He opens the bag up. You should go use the bathroom right now. I'm not asking. You know. So the dude sees, oh yeah, I gotta go, and he gets up out of there. And before you know it, you know, rat-ta-ta-ta, you know, he sets the shit up. But you thinking in your mind like, damn, yo, like, even though he just lit the shit up, I'm glad he told me beforehand. Like the angels when they came to Lot, they lit up that city of Sodom and Gomorrah and the 5 cities. But he was glad that they forewarned him about it. See? But you know what? It takes faith. It takes faith, just like it did with Abraham but the name I'm looking for is Noah. It takes faith like it did with Noah. It takes faith like it did with Lot. Because who was it? I think it was Lot's sons-in-law that basically mocked him when he went and told him, like, oh, okay. So I guess that's what's gonna happen, right? and guess what happened to them? They turned they burned with the city they were in. You know? So going back to the title, there's no room for error. And the angels, they get mad when you show lack of faith. Like John the Baptist's father. When he basically questioned the angel about what the angel came to tell him, he said, basically he told him, you know, like what I'm supposed to, the Most High gonna send me here to come lie to you? Who the man, shut your ass up. And after that, he couldn't talk until his son was born. You know? Them angels, they don't come to play. You know, look at what the angel did to Habakkuk. The angel's instruction were, take Habakkuk to go feed Daniel. Habakkuk is out here like, all right, well, hold on, logistics. Let's deal with logistics right now. All right, Babylon is a faraway country, and I don't even know where Daniel's at. Even in Babylon, if I was to get into Babylon, I can't get there tonight. But if I was to get into Babylon, where am I find him? You telling me go feed him in the lion's den? That's like if an angel came to you today and is like, yo, go feed a brother in Alaska. He's in an igloo somewhere. You're like, what? Feed him with what? You know what I'm saying? I just made my fine ass dinner. It took me 3 hours to make, 6 hours to prepare the lamb, you know, 4 hours to prepare everything else. And I put it together in a nice bowl. You talking about go feed a brother in Alaska in the igloo, you know? But looking at how the angel dealt with him, he didn't even want to hear nothing. He said he just grabbed him by the crown of his head, and before he knew it, he was out here crying Daniel's name. Hey, Daniel, please, here, eat. The angel hurting me, you know, just eat the food, bro, so I could go back home. You know, but it just goes to show you, like, they're quick with it. You know, they're there to get the job done. They're not there to you know, play around. Look at what the what's his name, Raphael, when he feigned himself as Azariah, as a brother of a family member or a relative of Tobit. What happened when Tobit started questioning him? Because Tobit was a father, and he's worried about his son. He's saying, well, you know, who are you? Can you show me the records of who you are? He said, look, bro, you want somebody to take your son, or what you want? You know, I'm here to get the job done. You want the job done or not? I'm talking about show me the records. I just told you I'm your brother, didn't I? All right, so let's go. So them angels, they don't come here to play. They're not like they're like man, but they're not like man. Okay, they're righteous beings.
Make it his ministers and flame of fire.
There you go. Yep.
No, I was gonna just say a worldly example of that is I recently watched the whole Terminator series.
I was just thinking, Terminator. That's crazy.
Yeah, and in the third one, the Terminator was sent back in time to pretty much protect John Connor from the nuclear destruction coming, and you know he had to save him and his wife, or soon-to-be wife. And that entire time, you know, the Terminator puts him in the truck. It's like, what the hell are you doing with it? But it's like my mission, because it said my mission parameter is to save you guys, to send you guys, to put you guys in the bunker and all that. All this emotional stuff, all this extra stuff, I don't need all that. I'm just here to put you where you need to be, and then that's it. And that's pretty much how, like, you know, just give you a real example how the angels work. It's like, look, my job is to just do this. After I do my mission complete, that's it. No need. I'm out.
Yeah, like the angel that came to Manoah. Well, really, he came to Manoah's wife. And when he came back to offer the sacrifice, he told him straight up. He said, look, I'm not going to eat it. And then he told him, you know, which actually when I was reading it, I was like, I found it very interesting how the angel told, when Manoah came there, he said, why don't you tell us your name so that when what you said comes to pass, we can honor you. And the angel said, why are you asking for my name, seeing it is secret? Now, when you go into the word secret, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a hidden thing, but the word actually goes into like it's incomprehensible, meaning it's too far above your comprehension to even understand my name. And that's an angel's name. And I'm like, I was reading, I was like, oh shit, the word, when you go into that word, I was like, damn, just the name alone. Yeah, it's Wonderland. What is that? Oh, anyway, it's incomprehensible. And I'm like, that's the name of an angel. How much more for the Most High? You know? And he gave us his name, and then you got people that want to play with that. So they're going to find out. They're going to find out the hard way, man. That's why the Lord, there's a reason why he was feared the way he was feared. What the? Oh, okay. But
Hey,
the reason why he was feared. Yeah, you got it, bro.
yeah, real quick. Another example of the angels, you know, coming in and working in haste, and that's why in the book of Revelation, it talks about it within 1 hour, America is basically going to be destroyed within 1 hour, right? Now, when you go into the book of Genesis, chapter 19, and start from verse 15, it says, "And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon, upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him." Right? So think about that. Like they did it roughly, but it was mercy from the Lord. So kind of like the example you gave about, the ball being kicked, the kid falls down, people look at it like, oh, damn, that's that's crazy. And then another one, he gets shoved out the way. It's like, oh, what the hell are you? And then they find out, oh shit, they had to use that force in order to save your life. You see, that's why when people say, oh, y'all sound aggressive, is because we have to be forceful. Be happy that we're not actually physically grabbing you and putting hands on you. We just out here using words. But soon the Lord is going to be the one putting calamity. He's going to literally put hands on you with the hands of these troops, man. All right, and that's when you're going to know what force is about. Right? It says here, it says, upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him out and set him without the city. Okay, so they just by force just grabbed him. Like, listen, man, you lingering, you dragging your feet. Bam, bam, let's go. Bam, take him out of there. Just grab him up. Just take him. Because you wasting time. You dragging your feet. So the angels got work to do. It's like, yo, we're on the clock. Let's go. Time is of the essence. So it's like there's no room for error when you're in that kind of mission. You know what I'm saying? Like this got to be like a quick, straight to the point. Like you got to bomb, 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 bomb. You out of there. Clean work. There ain't no trace of nothing. You just out of there quick. You see what I'm saying? And that's how we got to move. All right, because the angels move like that. All right, we are angels in the flesh. Right, so it makes sense to have, we may come off a little abrasive or aggressive, and that's because we have a mission to accomplish, man. We ain't here to sit around and joke around and sit down and have talks and no. We're here to deliver a message and that's it. All right, you got it, bro.
Yeah. Hey, Shalom, I was just saying, that it's you wonder that if the Lord had the angels on the time, like a time box that you got to get this done by such and such. That's why when they come, they don't waste no time. And to somebody else, it may look kind of crazy, right? You grabbing them, you dragging them. You know what I'm saying? That we got to go now. The person, wait, hold on, wait. So from the outside looking in, you're like, damn, is he okay? Like, what's going on here? But come to find out that, hey, it's for a good reason. Because like you were saying, now imagine if the dude stopped. He's trying to now tell the guy, like, yo, you got to move out the way. There's a car coming. But first off, this guy, there's a lot of things going on in his mind. He's in the middle of a conversation, number one. So his brain has to stop processing what's going on. He has to turn and say, wait, is somebody's calling me? He has to see that it's a stranger he doesn't know and then wonder why he should listen to you in the first place before even understanding what it is you're trying to tell him. All this meanwhile, there's a car coming full speed about to hit him. And what happens if he just says, bro, leave me alone? Now both you and him are in the way of the car. So you just do what you got to do. What's the saying? Actions speak louder than words. That's it. That's right.
Yeah, and a lot of them disaster movies, they'll have the guy that's the whistleblower. That's warning everybody. Like the day after tomorrow, he tried to tell everybody, like, yo, this is about to happen. Everybody be prepared. Everybody get ready. Like, yo, this guy's bugging. He's crazy. They always downplay you. They always downplay the one that's speaking the truth. They always downplay the one that's speaking the truth, and made him out to look crazy. But the frantic nature of that person should cause you to at least question and say, damn,
Right.
something about you. Like when Noah was preparing that ark, he meant straight business. And everybody looking at him, instead of mocking him, they should have considered, even if they had their doubts, they should have at least considered, like, yo, all right, man, what are you really talking about? Like, explain it to me. And even though he did, but they just had that block because they weren't given the vision and the belief.
Right.
But you out there, you Jakes out there that's seeing us do this week in, week out. When you see us out there on the brick ass cold days like this, you should wonder and say, man, something is moving them that they really truly believe in so much to where they out there doing this. And there's a fiery spirit in them to do this, even in the brickest cold of winter. What do they know that I don't know?
Right.
That's what you should really think about.
But the only thing they'll do that when it comes to rich investors moving their money out of stocks. You know what I'm saying? Or if all of a sudden, just a new trend comes, they'll jump on that. Oh, why is everybody doing it? I want to do it. But they're not going to consider these things like you were saying because they're not prudent. The scriptures in that same verse, it says, but the foolish pass on and are punished, right? So the foolish are oblivious to these things. They're ignorant of it. And willingly at that. They're willingly ignorant of these things. It's not like we're just keeping a secret to ourselves. We're telling them openly. We're making it plain upon the housetops that, hey, this is what's coming. Get right, get right, get right. But you know what? We got to focus on us, because technically, by coming out here and teaching you, we're still focusing on us. We're trying to have the Lord deliver us, and we understand that even for us, there's no room for error. Look at Moses. Yeah, we talk about how great Moses was. The Lord, he was a man of the Lord. But what did the Lord do to Moses? Moses didn't make it into the promised land. The Lord said, you're not crossing over this Jordan over there. And it's not like Moses didn't plead. He pled with the Lord. The Lord said, don't even talk to me about it anymore. I already told you what the answer is. Now you wondering, damn, Lord, like, shit, that's like, you literally said that's the man that you deal with, face to face. And over his what? His disobedience. And it's not like he just did it out of nowhere. He was provoked. But he was still disobedient to you, even for that split second, out of that emotion, out of wrath. And now look at the consequence for that. So that's how the Most High operates. That's why there is no room for error. You can't, what does the Yahweh Shai say not to the angel it was an error? I think that's in the scriptures. Might not have been Yahweh Shai who said it. But say not to the angel it was an error, because we have a greater burden on us, because we know what to do. We know right from wrong. So we're not ignorant. Okay, our eyes have been opened. So now if you end up doing something that you're not supposed to do, the Lord gonna look at you like, what happened here? It better be a good ass excuse, because you have everything you need in order not to do it. Now you may say, oh Lord, I just so happen to be here, and so why did you end up there? If you knew that this was possible to happen over here, why did you go over there? Don't the scriptures tell you to flee from sin as from the face of a lion? Now let me put you in front of a lion right now. What would you have done? Would you have gone into a lion's den? Yo, who in their right mind jumps into the lion's den at the zoo to go and find out, how funny the lion is? Then when you get your ass torn up, you crying to the Lord like, Lord, there's a lion chewing me up. That's how you sound when you go to the Lord with these dumbass excuses. Because he's going to look at you like, okay, you live all the way over here on Front Street. The zoo is 10 miles away from you. You're calling me from the middle of a lion's den in the zoo that's 10 miles away from you, saying there's a lion chewing your ass. And Jake, they're not going to say where they at. They're just going to say, Lord, there's a lion attacking me. Now, how did the lion come find? Did it leave the zoo? No. I just so happened to end up at the zoo. What were you doing at the zoo? Oh, I was just chilling. And then one of my friends dared me, so I jumped into the lion's den. See, that's the part they ain't going to say. But once you finally get to the end of it, you find out, well, nigga, I might just leave you in there. Have you lose a couple limbs. Lion play around with you a little bit, bite off your balls or some shit. Then I take you out.
They are no excuses.
Yeah, there are no excuses. So, and you gotta have that in your mind, and that's how the Lord operates. He looks at all these things, the things that you don't consider. That 441. That's it. That's our 441. But the Lord looks at all those things. So you got to keep that in mind. Yo, if this is possible, let me not even jeopardize it. That's the key word. Don't even jeopardize it. We're way too close. Look, anytime you get tempted, just think in your mind, we're way too close. We're way too close. Let me not jeopardize it. It doesn't matter what what it is, because what Satan is gonna do is he's gonna come harder. He's gonna throw them chicks at you. He's gonna throw them tricks at you. He's gonna throw whatever it is that he's trying to get you with at you. And you're gonna wonder, this ain't never happened until now. When I actually wanted it to happen, it happened, and now all of a sudden all these things are coming over here. Yeah, that's because he's trying to blind you from how close you are to the finish line. Imagine you running a race. I got you, Haran. I saw you moving your hands over there. You running a race, and here it is in the beginning of the race, you in last place. Ain't nobody even looking at you. They're just like, hey, boo, stop running, get off the track. That's Satan trying to discourage you so you can stop running the race. Then what happens is you start running, you start speeding up, you get to the middle point of the race, and you start catching up. You moving up to second place, first place. Now people are chanting and supporting you. And now all of a sudden, as you about to get to the finish line, now there's fine shit on the right, fine shit on the left. People that was booing you on the right. And they all trying to, yeah. Chicks trying to flash you and shit. And they trying to get you to do everything but focus on finishing the race. And it's right in front of you. But the second you look over here, because you know what happens with the human body, if you're not looking where you're going and you don't have good balance, you'll trip. So you look over here trying to run and your legs tripping across and now you're on the floor. And now everybody done run over you. Like Simba and the Lion King. a stampede all over your ass, and now you wake up with shoe stamps on your face, you know, and you wondered how you ended up in last place when you were 5 centimeters away from the finish line. That's how Satan works.
Equilibrium.
That's it. You got it, bro.
Hey, Khan, I got a quick precept here. This is a book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10, and verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people,
With them
and
songs.
the government of a prudent man is well ordered, right? And as you mentioned about how, as leaders, like you gave the example of Moses, as leaders, you can't really afford to be going off, especially when it comes to breaking the law, all right, being a criminal, or in this case, being, committing sins, right? Because the people follow what you say, what you do. You the king, you the leader, right? You the head. So basically, you're supposed to have a structure where everybody could follow and be on the right path. That's why the Apostle Paul said, be ye followers of me as I am of Hamashiach. In other words, you follow me as long as you see me following Yahushua, because that's the directive. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? That's what we got to be, right? That's how we got to be. Okay. So it says a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered, right? And that's, it reminded me of a lesson that I was watching, I think last night, or it might have been this morning. The Zaquan was going into Trump and how he was addressing, the press, and they asked him a certain question, legit question, and he just responds, very, erratically, very disrespectful. He goes, "Oh, you're a stupid person. You're very stupid." I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Like that's how he's talking to people now. And it says, verse 2, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So we talk about how eventually America is going to turn into anarchy, is going to turn into a lawless state. That's because you have people who are in power that don't believe in the law. Okay, not only just the American law, right, the Constitution and so on and so forth, but the biblical laws. All right, they despise the biblical laws. That's why they do things to provoke it all the time. Okay, but in this case, Trump is a person who's not well mannered to rule a city. So what's going to happen is, typically, like you were saying, a king or a ruler is supposed to be on the right hand side. You're supposed to have everything down pat so it can be passed down the line. Once a king goes off, what happens is there is no law at that point. The law has become voided because you were supposed to keep everything intact. As soon as you break that law, you open up the door for anarchy, because now every man will look at it and say, no, I'm a law to my own self. That's what's going to happen soon. It tells you in 2 Ezra 15, where it says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, or at the cost of their actions shall stand in their power. That simply means every man is going to be a law unto himself. I'm going to take laws into my own hands and do what I got to do, because clearly we live in a city where our own government is committing crimes against us. They're breaking the law quite literally openly. And they say, no, we don't care about it. There's nothing they can do about it. Like breaking the Fourth Amendment, right? All these different constitutional so-called rights that people believe that they had, they're just out openly, just blatantly, just disrespecting the fuck out of it. I'm saying? The freedom of the press, all right, freedom of communication, freedom of movement, all these different things they could shut down in the state of emergency. We've gone over this many, many times. But again, the point is, once a leader breaks the law, he opens the door for anarchy. And that's what you're seeing right now. When you're Trump, when your president is breaking laws just outright like that, and there is no checks and balances, eventually it leads to a point where people start to revolt, where they start to say, yo, F this. We're in a state of lawlessness anyway, right? This guy is not keeping the law. Why the hell should I keep the law? They're breaking all the laws left and right. Why the hell should I keep the law? So fuck that. We're going to be anarchists out here. We're going to be lawless. We're going to be wilding out in the streets. We're going to do what we got to do to survive and take care of ourselves. Okay, so that's what you're seeing right now being played out. And that's what happens when you don't have the true judges on earth to judge righteous judgment. Okay, to go according to the law and judge the earth and the inhabitants thereof according to the scriptures, so everybody could live. But now you have a situation where judgment must come so that the sifting can happen, so that then everything could be rebalanced again. Okay, so this is a necessary step. People got to suffer. People got to die. Everything got to be reset. The great reset, yes, it comes through by way of fire. Okay, by way of thermonuclear destruction. Okay, you got it, bro.
Right.
Yeah, I had a point that right now, what people are experiencing on the earth is all make-believe. This is the Matrix. And the Lord is allowing it to be like this so that people can go ahead and just dive more into wickedness because they're falling for the illusion. But all it's going to take, the Lord People don't realize how the Lord is allowing stability in the earth right now, a certain level, even though it's pockets of things happening and things are getting much worse. But it's still overall, it's still stable. When the Lord withdraws that and all hell breaks loose, that's when you're going to appreciate the stability that once was. Even now, look at after the demic, people will say now, well, man, I wish it was 2019 again. I wish it was back then, man. People have an obsession with nostalgia.
Right.
Nostalgia, the 90s,
Mhm.
Those 90s cartoons weren't even all that, okay? Motherfuckers hype it up because it associates you with a feeling
Right.
of childhood, of peace, of when things was better. Life was better back then. And it has just progressively got worse and worse and worse and worse. And now we're at the precipice of complete and utter destruction. Okay? All hell breaking loose. So you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone. You're not going to appreciate the men of the Lord being out here until it's gone. You don't appreciate having heat in your house until your boiler breaks. You don't appreciate having a roof over your head until you got a leak in the roof. See? So all of these things, then when it happens, people take all this shit for granted, man. You see? It's just a couple little mechanisms that's keeping your ass warm in the winter. And if that shit breaks, your ass is going to freeze. Okay? And then everybody's going to be looking for a plumber. All right, what happens when there ain't no plumber to call? Because he's out there protecting his family and the boiler breaks and Jacob's trouble. All right? When there's a flood, when there's these different calamities. And the Lord, we know the Lord, it's not just going to be like, oh, whoops, this happened. The Lord is systematically, surgically going to piece you people apart, man. Okay? But piece by piece, he's gonna annihilate you people, man. So the point being, bringing it back to the truth, and there being no room for error, okay, is that this truth, you got to get it right now. Seek the Creator in the days that are you. Don't wait until all these things happen, okay, and then you want to start going frantic, okay? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Mhm.
All right, so it's better to be preventative than to wait for shit to get fucked up. All right, when you got a plumber and he's putting that boiler back in, all right, because you lost the heat, you want to make sure you look at what he's doing because he has to make sure them pipes are sealed up. One little error can flood the whole house. One minor mistake. One. He could have got 99% right. He did everything right, but that one leak, that's all it took to completely destroy your house. And water damage is some fucked up shit. It's really, they have companies to reverse it or whatever, but once it's there, you're going to have mold, you're going to have issues for years. The house is fucked. Okay? So it's just that one error, man. Let's say they do the roof, all the shingles are proper, and they miss one. That leak fucks the whole house up.
Yeah.
So with this truth, man, the doctrine, we don't have no room for leaks, no room for errors, man. It all has to be 100% true.
Right. Beautiful point. Yeah. That's why you got to be very serious about it. You got to be very you got to scrutinize everything. People, oh, you doing too much. Oh, you're looking into everything. Yeah, you got to look into everything. Like the brother said, man, you miss one thing, and the Lord looking at you like, yo, so you're not gonna fix that? Because you could have fixed it if you were being detailed and diligent and watching it, but you weren't. You said, whatever, it's all right. It's just one thing. But like we mentioned before, right? Little things add up. Like Apostle R said, a big problem is really a little problem that spirals out of control, right? You have a little problem, then you don't address it, then you don't address it, then you don't address it, then it becomes a big problem. Now it's harder to address.
Yeah, that's why you asked the question, how did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
Then all those questions, well, this happened. Oh, okay, so these little things that were overlooked is how eventually led to this big problem here.
Mm-hmm.
Very big problem.
A very, very big problem. We got people for that. Let's get that in Sirach 2.
On the top.
Yeah.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and 1.
Hey, because you know what? I'm going to say this too. When you really think about what it is that we're required to do now, it's not really much. Like in comparison to what the prophets of old did, all right, versus, what the Lord does for us, you really wonder, like, damn, Lord, like on average, right? On average, nobody's doing like 3-hour videos a day, You probably do like, maybe if it's a stream, you might do an hour, or, go a little over an hour. If it's a video, it might be 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe 30, maybe 45 if you like to talk, or maybe 9, it's something, and you putting this out there, and you like, damn, Lord, that's all it takes. There's 24 hours in a day, And the Lord is like, if you can just do this for me consistently and just feed my lambs for me, that's all I'm asking you for. And think about how much more effort you put into other things. And when it comes to this, like we're talking about, number one, really it should be a privilege to do this work because the Most High chose you. He called you. That means he's like, yo, this guy, go and find this guy for me and bring him into my labor so he can come and work for me. You feel special. It's like when people, recruiters come and see people, right? If it's like sports or whatever, the person that you got this recruiter, they want him. Oh, this person, well, they want him. They want him. You feel like, oh shoot, like you must be, valued. So if the Lord calls you to come and work for him, that means that he sees some potential up in there. You got to take that and you say, well, it's an honor to serve the Lord because really it benefits you. Doing this work forces you to think. It forces you to learn and master certain skills that you might not do before. And in fact, being a servant of the Lord makes you well-rounded. All right. You have to have discipline in order to be in this. So guess what? Before, like, it's like when you exercise without thinking about exercising. People who work jobs that they're constantly on their feet, they're actually exercising, but in their minds, it's not exercising, it's working. And so it's really the benefit of two, because sometimes when you actually go to try and exercise with the mindset of exercising, it's not always easy. Because you feel like, I don't really feel like working out today. I don't feel like doing this today. But when you're working and that's a part of your workout, you don't really think about the workout part. You just think about the work that you're doing. So when you're doing this work and you serving the Lord, you don't realize how much your vocabulary improves. You don't realize how much your ability to decipher certain things improves. You don't realize how much easier it is for you to actually speak to people. You may have certain brothers who, prior to being in this truth, you didn't really speak to people. You were shy, you were more closed off. But when you speak here, you forget that you're actually dealing with people. You're interacting with people. You got to learn how to speak. You got to learn how to convey your thoughts. You got to learn how to understand. You got to learn how to deal with people. In this truth, it involves a lot of people management because you're dealing with people, right? You got to learn how to control your anger. You got to learn how to control yourself. There's a whole lot of things that come with this truth that you learn. Sometimes you learn the hard way. Sometimes, you're able to pick it up on the fly. And when you interact with people in the world, you're different now. But you don't even see the training that this gives you. Because all you're focused on is, all right, if it's for the work, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And before you know it, it's putting you on a much higher level. So, like I always say, serving the Lord is really serving yourself as well. Because in serving the Lord, he's giving back to you by making your life better. You got to, in order to be a servant of the Lord, you got to be on a certain level. That level puts you on a higher level. It makes you a better individual. From the diet, from the things that you eat, it makes you healthier because you're not eating these abominable foods. It keeps you safe because you're out of trouble. You're not trying to put on any appearance of evil. You're not doing anything superfluous. You're not doing anything out of pocket. And it makes you trustworthy. It makes you a stand-up individual. Not because of the person, but because of the Lord. You're not going to go and sleep with a neighbor's wife, not because, she's not into you. No, because you fear the Lord. So you see how serving the Lord fixes everything else around you. But people that don't serve the Lord, they don't see that.
Learn about a lot of different things, like the brother was saying. And I think I heard the apostle say this too. We wear many hats. Like basically, you become a dietitian. You learn about diet. You learn about herbs. You become a herbalist. You become a historian. Your discernment. Your people skills, your social skills has to be on a level because coming up with random strangers that's coming up, you gotta know how to talk to people and like be subtle and be, know when to go, know when to pull back, know when to hit the green, know when to hit the brakes, and all these different skill sets is like it's a lot of it is in us already, and then we learn it. We have certain abilities that every brother comes with. A man's gift maketh room for him. So the Lord gives men certain abilities. You come in with, you might have a set, like in the game, you have a set amount of skills, and then as you go in the game, you start learning more. You learn this talent, you learn this ability, and then other brothers around you might have other skills, and you start picking up on that. Like, yeah, this brother, he's nice with anointing oil. So man, that made me want to learn about that more. This brother, he gets into the history, he gets into these prophetic breakdowns. that makes me want to learn about it more. You know, so all these different things adds up, and every man brings his own, and that's why we're a body. That's a beautiful thing about having a body, and even how we deal amongst each other. You know, because there's time to hold your peace. It's time to say something. It's time. It's a lot, man. You know, and it's all according to the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's why, how do we navigate all this? You know, it's not according to us, it's the spirit. And we pray to the Lord to give us the spirit, to give us more of a portion of the spirit, to increase us in knowledge and wisdom and understanding so we can navigate all these things. Because it certainly wasn't of our own understanding that we're doing this. This is clearly of the Lord, man.
That's right. Brother, so you got a point?
It's sort of like Jin Woo from Solo Leveling. You know how he had that entity that would basically grant him skills as he leveled up, and every time, as he progressed, and when he was in crucial moments, he was granted with a skill and basically helped him survive.
Cheating. Hey, what that we cheated? We cheated too.
Yeah, being this shoe was like a cheat code.
Hey, but that's the same thing with us. You know, things really, if you think about it, you know, from speaking as a man, things that should happen to us sometimes don't, because the Lord intervenes. You know, so you might have gotten into that accident, but the Lord intervened. You know, you might have gotten into some trouble here, but the Lord intervened. You know, things might have gone bad for you, but the Lord intervened, switched it up, and now it goes in your favor. You know, it's all the the workings of the Lord. I was speaking to somebody and they were telling me, they were like, yo, you know, they're like, the way the Lord works for them now, especially now that they start to see, because you know what it is? I remember when my brother and I, you know, we were like first getting into the truth and everything. That's it, 441, 144. We started getting into the truth and everything. In the beginning, it's strange, right? For people that are around you. They're like, what is this? And because of the history of the world today, they fear that, oh, it's just probably a cult or some religion or some dangerous thing. But when they start to see, that's why the Apostle Paul mentioned, you know, if you have somebody that's an unbelieving spouse, you know, don't leave just because you guys don't believe the same thing, because they'll see you, and from that, they're gonna be like, yo, this person is, I'm curious to see what it is that they do, because whatever it is, it's making them different, but in a good way. Like, it's actually beneficial to me because now they're actually, you know, like more reliable. I got you. So this person was telling me, they were like, yo, one time they went to the store and they were trying to buy food. And they can be picky sometimes. So they're there and they see that the lady, you know, they order what they order, and then the lady's like scraping, but the food is like at the bottom. She get like the basically the scraps that are left over in the pot. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to empty this pot before they bring the new one out. So she just there, and in her mind, she's like, man, she really giving me the bottom of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what type of shit is this? So, you know, they just like saying that in their heads. And they're like, yo, literally, the lady takes she scoops it up, she heaps it up, she closes the joint, and as she's turning, the joint flips and falls on the ground. Now the food spills. So now she's like, oh, shoot, I'm so sorry. So they have to go get the new fresh batch, come and put it there, and that's from the top of the fresh batch is what they filled up the order for the person, you know? And they just like, damn, you know, like, yo, it's little things like that the Lord does for you. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll use my mother for an example. When she first,
You better hope she don't watch
no, it's actually good. It's actually good. But, when I first came to the truth, she looked at it as like, what is it, some type of cult? But after a while, she started seeing me like I have like a bunch of books in the house and things like that. She was like, oh, and when you was in school, you didn't read nothing. Now you read something because this is actually, like you were saying, it's benefiting me, as opposed to in school. It's like, what am I learning this for if I'm not going to use it and things like that? But this is actually benefiting me, and like even things I watch, I didn't like. It's like before in the truth, I used to watch like video game shit, walkthroughs, how to beat this, how to do this. Like one game in particular I used to play a lot was Overwatch. So I was like, how the fuck you get better with this character? But then the truth, I watched certain historical videos, you know about them, like Kings in General, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I even watched certain other videos like how to talk to people better. Because I know brothers may say certain things, they even friends, but this face you see right here is not appealing to people, all right? This very stoic, serious face scares people, right? Brothers may say, oh, no, you put, no. To people, I know. They see this like, this nigga right here. Okay? Watch him. Okay? So I already know. So I know that, okay, this face, the voice, and how I talk has to be like, okay, all right, it's cool. Because how he looks, it makes me feel like he's about to do something. But when he talks about, oh, it's cool, yeah, it's very like, oh, yeah, it's cool. And he's very polite and everything. So I have to learn how to talk to people to like just cool them down, because they see me, be like, sometimes people see me. I have to deal with it even in high school. Sometimes people be afraid to approach me, like, yeah, it's like, yeah,
You all right?
yeah. So it's like,
Crazy.
yeah, so it's like, yeah, everything cool. I gotta chill out, or like I gotta talk to you a certain way to make you at ease, so you don't make me uneasy.
Hey, well, that's good though. You know, like in the right setting, because you know there's some areas where you don't want people to want to approach you. You want people to look at you like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna just not talk, not go that way. I'm gonna cross the street the other way. And sometimes you want them to cross the street the other way. Like Apostle said, there's some people that you see and you push the elevator close button. You know what I'm saying? And you just hope they don't catch you in there, because then it's like he said one time he did it, and the person called the elevator time and came up in there with him. And he's like, yo, so you trying to close on? He said, yeah, I try to close on you, nigga. I want to be here with you. And now you both in there all quiet and awkward and shit.
Hey, how should I think about going to be so that's the appearance that people want to have the image and the likeliness of the Most High, the Howard Shah and the Most High. And they were austere people. They austere. They got a serious look. And according to how y'all living in this world, he's angry. He even got a grin on his face. You know? Ice grill.
So you pushed it
You know?
that way.
We come from, when y'all see us, that's the only reason why y'all get negative thoughts about us based upon our appearance.
Right.
All right? Y'all might call us the bummites or whatever, or y'all always being hostile. It's just the look that y'all worried about. Y'all don't even know what we talking. We bring in the gospel, the good word of the Lord. You'll come here, when you get finished listening for an hour or two, you'll have a good sense about your ability of living life. You know? We bringing that spirit of living waters to you. We're not giving you no toxicity. You know, who's the best rapper, the top 5 and all of that. Who you'll smash as far as these dirty girls out here. That's a bad thing to have on your spirit. But we giving you life. We're giving you the wanting of the bringing in of the kingdom and how you get there. How you be the first to be there. You know? Sometimes it upset us, and we have that grimace on our face because it saddens us on the stupidity that's going on in this world today. I need to wake up.
Right, that's right. Good point. Hey, but we close.
Hey, real quick, and going back to the point y'all brothers is making. Ultimately, one thing I've also noticed is that brothers, for the most part, we're introverts, right? And in the very definition of the word, you got a lot of people in the world who say, "Oh, I'm not an introvert," because they've been told that they're an extrovert. Extrovert means somebody who's all happy and social and all that. Nah, extroverts, when you actually go by definition, men of the Lord were, when you even go through the scriptures, we're always secluded, right? We always, because that's what it means to be holy, to be separated. So you become separate from the world. When you go from the transition of being in the world to in the truth, you literally cut off or sever all ties with the world. And that's what makes you appear to be an introvert, but really that's from within, because introvert means somebody who gets their power from being in seclusion and being silenced, right? When you, let's say, typically for an introvert, I'll use myself or my brother as an example, we can only deal with things but for so much, right? Let's say there's a family gathering or whatever the case may be, and there's mad people there. We can only deal with that shit for like 30 minutes to an hour tops. And then you got to separate. You got to be by yourself for a little bit to recharge and then come back and deal with them again. You see what I'm saying? But you can't just be in the midst, like you got family that began together, everybody coming from different parts of the country, different parts of the state, and they all gathered there. Everyone got different shit that they talking about, and we all got to sit there and just listen to that shit. And it's mostly bullshit conversations. It's mostly unfaithful conversations. It's mostly worldly conversations. Shit that'll vex you. But you got to play it cool because you're like, you know what? It's going to be for a few minutes and then they out of here. You right? But in that moment, you want to be alone for a little bit. You want to go open up your scriptures, or maybe some shit going down, breaking news. You want to go read about it. You want to be involved in something that's not in the world. You see, and that's how you get recharged. The more you're with people, the more you're in the world, the closer you are with people of the world, you get drained. Like you can feel it. You feel it. You physically and spiritually get so drained when you're around people in the world, man. You know, or when you're around too many people that's not in the brotherhood. But when you're around brothers or you by yourself, you feel a lot more alive, right? Because you can be in your own element. You can be your true self. You see what I'm saying? Compared to an extrovert is somebody who can't be alone. All right. They always have to be around people or be in a crowd somewhere because that's how they get their energy. If they're alone, they get bored, right? They become unfunctionable. Like they just become so miserable and they want to go out. And typically women are like that. All right. Women in the world, they are extroverts in the sense that they get their power from getting attention from people, being outside, being all rowdy, being in a chaotic environment. That's what turns them up. That's what turns them on. Right. But for men, for the most part, we're more, secluded. That's how you gain your power. That's how you get back to your equilibrium, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? You go to work, you spend all day outside dealing with people. When you come home, you want to spend that time by yourself. Then you imagine coming home and they're like, hey, you want to go out to the party or you want to go out to meet your friend? You get pissed. You're like, nah, man, fuck that. I want to chill today, man. I'm not going out today, or I want to just spend some time with my dog, or I just want to be in the woods, just meditating and just be chilling. You know what I'm saying? That's fine by me, And what some of the things you get ridiculed for is, oh, you're antisocial or you're this. Yo, take that as a compliment. Because why the hell I want to be around people who are always wicked, draining my energy? Like, fuck that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I want to be more at peace. You are at peace when you're in a chaotic state. I'm not at peace when I'm in a chaotic state. So we're going to be on two different playing fields. I'm not about to sacrifice my sanctity and my, mental well-being just because you think I'm corny for not wanting to go out. That's all right. I think you corny for wanting to go out all the goddamn time. What about that? Right? So it's just the little understanding, but all of us carry those similar traits, right? That we want to be left alone. We want if we had it our way, fuck all these people, man. That's just how we look at it. You know what I'm saying? When you got to go outside, you're like, oh man, I got to deal with these people. Like that feeling, bro, man, we can't wait for that to be over, man. All right, I believe there's a word for it. Like people that don't like people. I forget the there's a word for it.
Social.
Nah, there's another word that's like you dislike people. Like I forget the name. What's that?
Misanthrope.
Yes, that's the word. Right. We're very misanthropic men because people piss us off. Right. Just like it tells you in the book of that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. We always sign and crying, bro. We literally every day. That's why we like to be left alone or be around brothers. If not, just leave us alone, bro. Don't bother us. Don't say nothing to us. And we're regular men, right? But we have a different spirit that makes us kick, and we like to keep it that way. All right. So that's why we always emphasize not being around people of the world because they fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? They got demons on them and they will fuck with you. Where you gotta have balance. Like going back to the point brothers are making, knowing how to even deal in that kind of situation. The walk that we walk now helps you build and navigate on how to go about these things. Right? Like for example, knowing how to speak in parables. You might be with a brother, but you might say something. You mean one thing, but the way you're saying it, if somebody's not on the same level playing field, they're not going to understand what you just said. They're just going to take it at a surface level. You see what I'm saying? You got to be like Yahushua, being in the Roman Empire and teaching about the things that's about to happen, the overthrow of their kingdom and all that. Hey, they try to make him to be a criminal. They try to trip him up on his words so they could send him back to Caesar and be like, look, see what he's saying? He's trying to cause sedition, right? So he had to speak in parables. He had to speak in code. Okay? He's like, nigga, you don't understand what I just said? Like, you want me to just openly say so they can arrest all of us? You know what I'm saying? So he had to be very, meticulous with what he said and how he said it. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be on the same type of time, ultimately to reserve our own peace and sanctity. All right, but you got it, bro.
Got it. Any other precepts?
Yes. Brother comes to precept. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. For kings and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty.
Right. And that's spirit, because the brother mentioned peace. That's the last thing Aharon mentioned about being peaceful. And really, that's what we strive to do, is have a peaceful and quiet life. We ain't over here banging on the drum saying, come look at me, like Katsanat, being an attention whore. That dude, he's just banging the drum. And when the Lord looks at him and says, well, you banging this drum, what do you have to say? A bunch of fucking garbage, man. And that's why the Lord's going to destroy individuals like that. But us, we just want to live a quiet, peaceful life. and we know how to flip the switch and deal with people. You see, we can do both, but preferably you'd rather be to yourself, because that just eliminates all of those extracurriculars, extra situations that could happen. Shit, you ain't gonna get into no issue just playing the crib,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So playing the crib is really the way to go most of the time. You know, enjoy the rent that you're paying.
Mhm.
You know, so living a peaceable and quiet life. That's what a man of the Lord is striving to do, man. All right, we're not striving to be out amongst in the riffraff with people and all that. Let them have that, man. They have their portion in this life. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I'll say this one thing that at the end of the day, you gotta treat your time like your money. All right, because we have so much to do. The Yahushua said, "The harvest truly is plenty, but the laborers are few." So we got a responsibility, a greater responsibility, which we center our life around. There's a chunk of our life that we have to dedicate to something that is a non-negotiable, which is serving the Lord. And so everything else comes after that, right? So we barely even have time. That's why time is very important. That's why, like Haran was saying, when you're in a certain environment and you feel like there's nothing you're getting out of it, you're just there with aunties and uncles and mad people, and they're just laughing and talking about vain things. Quite literally, you leave that conversation with nothing, right? Probably less than you came in there with, meaning your peace of mind. And you're thinking in your head, yo, I could be doing so many other things right now. I could be doing a lesson. I could be doing something that I didn't get to do because I had to be doing a lesson. I could be doing all these things because we have a purpose. We have a way we live. So when that gets obstructed by unnecessary, superfluous things, you feel like your money or your time is being wasted. Now, nowadays, I consider my time worth more than money, because money you can get back, time you can't. If you spend the whole of yesterday on some BS, that's gonna literally be a day that's gone. That you didn't do anything, you didn't progress, you didn't gain any, you didn't go any further. It's just a waste. And that shit is when people try to waste your time, man. I understand why back in the day, older people used to get upset. Our pops, once he was done on the phone with what he had to say, that was it. The whole listen to each other, breathe. You don't do that shit. All right. You on the phone and you ain't got, and he can tell when you ain't got your conversation ain't going nowhere. You just want to be here just to be here. And women love that shit.
Oh yeah.
They just love that shit. They'll be on there. It'll be a silence for 5 minutes straight. And the second you clear your throat, like you about to go, yeah, I gotta, what you gotta go? Where you going? What do you mean, where am I going? Now, clearly we're not doing anything over here. It's been 5 minutes. Yeah, but you don't want to talk to me? And then it starts a whole new shit, And that shit is, hey, Paul said you're gonna have trouble in the flesh. We know what you mean, Paul. We understand now. Shit. But hey, all in all, your time is very valuable. And right now we have much less of it before this shit, the Lord kicks this up into the next gear. So we already know what those that are on the outside are doing. But like the angel Uriel told Ezra, we should worry about those that are going to be saved. Lord willing, we be of that number. So there is no room for error. We don't have the freedom to mess around. You got to lock in more and more and more and more. All right. And cut the little things that you don't need and reinvest that time into the things you do need, which is serving the Lord. You want to have an overabundance, you want your cup to run over than to not have enough to drink. All right. And since we don't know what the size of our cup is, we just gonna keep pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. Shit. It's all right. It's all right if your labor pours and pours and it goes over the cup. That's all right. But yeah, that's it on that. Bro's got any last free stuff?
Yeah, oh,
Go ahead. You got it. Well, you find yours.
all right, Con. Last precept. This is a book of Hebrews, chapter 12, and verse 1. It says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses," right, spectacle, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High. All right, so basically, ultimately, all right, the point is in verse 1, where it says, basically, like you said, besetting, or anything that's going to hold us and hinder us from this walk, from this race, push that shit to the side. You know, keep your eyes single and focused, and then just finish strong. You have no room for error, right? And if you fall out or something happens to you, understand that it's your own doing, right? But if you follow what the steps are, what's been laid out, you just follow the blueprint, you're gonna make it. You're gonna be good. All right. But you got it, bros.
Yeah, if this is a race, man, now's the time where you got to run like hell. Everything you got. Everything you got. If you got 5 extra minutes, put it towards the Lord. Everything you got. Got it, bro.
This is Ephesians 5:15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Right. So as the brother said, redeeming the time. You know, basically making the most of what we have now, knowing that the days are evil, knowing that we've done amiss. Most of us brothers, we spent the majority of our lives in a whole bunch of wickedness. But now that the Lord gave us a portion to know better, you know, it's like you have court with the king. You know, you're not going to waste that time. You know, you had in ancient time, the jester would go up, and if he wasn't funny, you know, he's going to get put to death. Okay. You over here wasting my time. I hear you talking, but I'm not laughing. What's about to happen? Right? This is Ephesians 5:17. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is, and be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. So don't be spiritually drunk. Don't be physically a drunkard. But you know, be wise and understand the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and really strive to be exceptional in this thing. Strive for excellence in this thing, because look what's at stake, man. Look what the Lord has promised to us. Look what He's about to give us, man. We talking about a crown of life, spiritual powers on the line. So we got to move, and I'm exhorting myself first and foremost. We got to move like there's actually like there's immortality forever is on the line. Okay, this is not no game. It's not no bullshit. So we got to really move with a sense of urgency, man.
Right.
You know, and I'm speaking to myself and these brothers and those of you out there at the household of faith first and foremost.
Right. That's right.
Oh, yeah. So even after giving it your all, you feel like you're done, like there's nothing left in the tank. You gotta enter that flow state and keep going. You tell your body that you're putting all the stops here, and you don't stop until the Lord gets here.
That's right. That's it. Gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta do what you gotta do.
So,
So yeah, let's lock in. Let's finish strong. We want to see each other on them chariots, and we want to, we want the Lord to get down with us, right? We want to be in the midst of it, and we want our legacy to be strong, right? We want to finish strong. We're not trying to finish in no y'all passed out and shit. No, fuck that. We want to finish strong. Rip that little line at the front of the race. We want to tear that shit, all the way somewhere else. So that way, when you're written up in the kingdom, anybody that reads your story, they're like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what a man of the Lord should be like. All right. And that's the target he's striving to hit. So with that, we're gonna end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying and exhorting to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak, Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.
Hey, shalom to the elect. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakatam. Shalom.